Hello friends, you're highly welcome. So this is our fifth challenge. As you can see, so write a Python program to get 6 subject marks from the user and calculate total and average of that mark and display to user. So you're expected to prompt the user to enter 6 marks, then you calculate the sum and the average of those 6 marks. So open your VS Code, then create a file. As you can see, I've created my file c5.py. So the first thing we are going to do is to actually create a list that will store those 6 marks. So I will say marks is equals to, for now the list will be empty list because no mark has been entered. The next thing we need to do is to create a variable known as counter to keep track of how many marks the user have entered. So I will say counter is equals to, so this variable will start from 1. The next thing I will do is to actually use a while loop. So I will say while counter is less than or equals to what? 6. So what this while loop will do is to actually keep track of how many marks the user have entered. So we'll have counter here as 1 initially. So the first question is 1 less than or equals to 6? Yes. So if 1 is equals to 6, what will then happen? So now prompt the user to enter mark or enter the first mark. So create a variable, we'll name it mark. This will be equals to, we'll prompt the user. So say input, please enter mark. So initially will be the first mark, so I will name it counter and I'll come here. I'll use f string. So what will happen here is that this counter is the same counter. Don't forget, this counter keep track of the particular mark being entered. So in this case now, since counter is equals to 1, the user is entering the first mark, so it will be please enter mark then 1 here to indicate that the user should enter the first mark. So once the user enter the first mark, don't forget any value supplied through the keyboard is stored as string, so you have to convert it to integer or float if you want to perform any mathematical or numerical operation. So I will say mark will be equals to, I will cast it to integer then mark. So once we are done with this, the next thing is to add the mark the user entered to push it inside this list. So I will say marks pushes this list that is empty here dot is a method known as append. This method will actually take a particular mark and add it to this empty list here. So I will say mark. So take this mark that is integer and add it to this empty list here. So for each iteration, it will take the mark the user supply and add it to the list. It will keep adding it to the list until the 6th mark. So when you are done, after the first mark, you need to increment your counter by 1, counter plus 1. So once you do this, this will keep track of how many mark have been entered. So initially this will be 1. Then for the second iteration, this will be 1 plus 1. 1 plus 1 will be 2. 2 will be stored inside of this counter. Then it will come here. Is 2 less than or equals to 6? If yes, then to perform this action, prompt the user to enter another mark. So it will keep going and going until when this counter is 7, it will say is 7 less than or equals to 6 false, then it will end this while loop. So once it's done, we'll now say total mark will be equals to what? Sum of marks. Then the average mark will be equals to what? Total mark divided by what? The length of what? Marks. So with this we can get the total and the average marks. So once we are done, we can now print using the F string. So the sum of the marks are, or sum of the mark is what? Total. And I'll print again the average of the marks is equals to what? Average. So friend, this will actually give us what we intend to get. So this is the solution to our challenge. So I will have to run it now. So let me right click. As you can see, we have run Python. We have run Python in terminal. So it's asking me, let me give space here, and I will save and I will run again. So let me clear and let me run again. So please enter Mark 1. So if the user enter 50 as Mark 1, press enter. As you can see, please enter Mark 2, can enter 30. Please enter Mark 3, 20. Please enter Mark 4, 25. Please enter Mark 5, 36. Please enter Mark 6, 23. So you can see the sum of the mark is this. The average of the marks is equals to this. Let me round this average to 2 decimal places. I will say round the average in 2 decimal places. So it's very simple. So another way you can check how this thing is running is to actually come here, run. So put your dots here. Let's run debug. Put your dots here. Sorry, let me put the dots here first. Put the dots here. Then I will right click. I will run start debugging. So use Python debugging so we can keep track of what is actually happening here. So as you can see, starting from the beginning, you can see. So let's start. So step over, step into, step out. So we have, as you can see, the next one is mark counter is equals to 1. So at that point, counter will be equals to 1. While counter is less than this, as you can see here, counter is equals to 1 here. If I say step over, the next one, at this point, counter is 1. So you are asking the user to enter a particular mark. So the user will enter the mark here. Say step. So to now ask him to enter the mark, I will say 20, 30. As you can see here, mark is equals to 30 because I entered 30. If I come here again, step over again, as you can see, mark is equals to 30. As you can see, I'm increasing counter by 1 and the 30 is being stored inside these marks. So that is how we actually run the debug to actually monitor what actually happened. So this will keep happening and happening and happening until, so I will say 20 here. To continue again, I will say 30 here. To continue again, I will say 30 again. To continue again, I will say 60. Then the last one, I will say 70. Then enter. As you can see, all the marks are stored inside this mark here. The last mark that was entered here is 70. So I will come down. Mark is 70, come down. Counter is 6. At this point, counter is 7. Watch close, the counter is 7. So this condition will actually fail. Once it fails, the code will jump to this part here, total. So this, as you can see, it jumps to here. Now our marks contain all these values here. So I will say next, next, next. So we'll have our sum and we'll have our average. So friends, as you can see, it's very easy. Just understand clearly what we are trying to achieve. So thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please make sure you subscribe and share. Thank you. Peace.